What if I told you that one of the greatest spy operations in history happened right under America's nose? For 7 years, no batteries, no wires, no trace, just silence, until it was too late. This is not science fiction. This is real. And it begins with a wooden gift that turned into one of the most terrifying espionage devices ever built. Moscow, 1945. The war had ended, but the Grand Alliance was already crumbling. Stalin's paranoia met Truman's resolve. A new conflict was already brewing, one not fought on battlefields, but in shadows, whispers, and the locked rooms of embassies that had become the front lines. It was in this tense atmosphere that the Contradinion, young pioneer organization of the Soviet Union, presented a beautifully carved wooden plaque, the Great Seal of the United States, to U.S. Ambassador W. Averell Harriman, a gift, a gesture of goodwill from the Soviet people, a symbol of friendship, or so it was designed to be seen. Behind this gift was a secret so ingenious, so invisible, that it would outsmart the entire U.S. intelligence apparatus for nearly 7 years. A device that had no batteries, no wires, no power source, a bug that slept silently, waiting to be awakened, a masterpiece of espionage built not by soldiers, but by a prisoner. The mastermind? Léon Theremin. A genius Soviet engineer, famous for the eerie electronic instrument you play without touching. But by 1945, Theremin wasn't a free inventor. He was a prisoner of the state. He had been arrested years prior and was forced to work in a Sharashka, a secret Soviet research lab run by the NKVD, where imprisoned scientists developed technology for the state. His task? Invent tools that could outwit the West. And under duress, he succeeded beyond their wildest dreams. The device, codenamed The Thing, by the Americans who later discovered it, was unlike any bug the world had ever seen. Internally, it was a masterpiece of miniaturization, a hollow resonant cavity, a delicate antenna, and a diaphragm thinner than a hair. Externally, it was just wood. It was passive, completely inert and silent. It only came to life when Soviet operatives from the KGB's First Chief Directorate aimed a powerful microwave beam at the ambassador's office from a building just across the street. When that invisible beam struck the seal, the cavity inside resonated. The tiny diaphragm vibrated with every spoken word in the room. Every discussion of the Marshall Plan, every cable from Washington, every candid assessment of Soviet intentions. Those vibrations modulated the radio waves, bouncing back a crystal-clear signal, carrying every state secret straight to a KGB listening post. Think about the scale of this. For 7 years, through the final stages of World War II, the dawn of the atomic age, and the Berlin airlift, the ambassador, his staff, even high-ranking visitors like George F. Kennan, every word, every whisper, every plan was stolen without a trace. For 7 years, the Americans were blind. Their embassy was swept for bugs routinely, but nothing was ever found. Why? Because their detectors looked for transmissions from a device. The thing had none. It was a mirror, not a beacon. To U.S. intelligence, it was just a piece of wood on the wall. The breakthrough didn't come from American ingenuity, but from a British radio operator's keen ear. In 1951, during a routine transmission, an operator at the British Embassy in Moscow heard a strange phenomenon, his own voice faintly echoing back over the airwaves during a broadcast. He realized someone was passively reflecting his signal. The secret was out. A year later, in 1952, during a more sophisticated sweep led by a British intelligence team, the same anomaly was detected in the U.S. Embassy. A faint signal flickered only when a specific frequency was beamed at a specific point on the wall. When they carefully pried open the Great Seal, they found it. Not a complex machine, just a single, simple, terrifyingly elegant little antenna. The revelation sent shockwaves through Washington. The Soviets hadn't just been listening, they had been inside the room for the entire opening act of the Cold War. Watch closely. I shine this microwave beam at the cavity. No power, no wires, and yet, the sound in this room is modulated and transmitted back. This is the exact principle Theremin perfected. simple, elegant, invisible. This was espionage decades ahead of its time. The discovery of the thing did more than terrify Western intelligence. It fundamentally reshaped it. It was a direct catalyst for the creation of the National Security Agency, NSA, in 1952, an organization dedicated to signals intelligence and counter-espionage on a massive scale. Embassies were rebuilt as shielded Faraday cages. Billions were poured into research. A single device had triggered a global arms race in electronic surveillance. But the true genius of the thing was not just in what it overheard, it was in what it symbolized. The birth of modern electronic espionage, a world where trust was a vulnerability, where any gift could be a weapon, and where the walls themselves could betray you. The thing wasn't just a bug, it was a ghost, a spy that waited in plain sight, feeding the enemy your secrets. For 7 years, the United States Embassy in Moscow was haunted, and it never even knew. And if that doesn't make you wonder what's hidden in the devices around us today, maybe you're not paranoid enough. If you enjoyed this journey into espionage's darkest secrets, hit subscribe, because the Cold War may be over, but the stories it left behind are more chilling than fiction.